Namaste. Natyarambha welcomes you to Tamrapatra Conversations. The topic for the day is the divine feminine. Dr. Anita Ratnam, dancer, scholar, speaker, writer, and ideator, and of course, the founder of Nartaki, is here in conversation with dancer scholar Dr. Anupama Kylash, the choreographer of session 3 of Tamrapatra, Rama Vaidyanathan, and I, Ananda Shankar Jayant, welcoming you to the 4th in the series of Tamrapatra Conversations. Anita, welcome to Tamrapatra Conversations, session 4.
Thank you so much, Ananda. It's such a delight to host and anchor and actually sort of meander through this amazing topic, because each month with each conversation, I end up, I think, sinking a little deeper into Annamaya's world. But this conversation is about the divine feminine. And I think before we even go to Annamaya's composition, I want us to go back to our Kalakshetra moment.
Wow,
right?
That's a real wind back.
I know. You know, when we were learning the repertoire, you in Kalakshetra, I, of course, even before I joined Kalakshetra, and with my guru Adyar Lakshman, and during my time in Kalakshetra, the dance repertoire that we had was fairly traditional. We learned the Padavarnams, we learned an Ashtapati, we learned some Padams. But Lakshmi or Shri was not central as the protagonist in many of these compositions. And I remember, and I'm sure you do too, because you were in it, Atte's choreography of the Dashavatam and the Kurmavataram. And I tell you, the way she had created the oceans and the devas and the asuras churning. But what I remember is Sri Mahalakshmi emerging.
Right.
You know, and that moment, I think it was Krishnaveni. Was it Krishnaveni?
It was Umara. Umara.
Uma, that's right.
Umara was the Lakshmi and Krishnaveni Akka was the Mohini.
Mohini, correct. So Uma also very attractive, right? I mean, and I remember Atte's costumes. She had this costume design.
And going up there.
Yes, I know. Mahalakshmi coming up. And, you know, some moments are so indelible in our minds, certain moments in choreography. And it was so modern for those days. I'm talking of the, mid-70s. So the whole idea of her emerging from the churning of the ocean, and the idea, of course, when we go back to the story and mythology, is that when she disappeared from the face of the earth withered, which meant that there was no life, there was no desire, there was no love, there was no creation. So I think that is perhaps the crux of our conversation today. Can you tell me, Ananda?
Yeah.
When did you do an actual sort of Lakshmi piece out after Kalakshetra?
Actually, I'll just take segue back into the conversation of Kalakshetra. I was one of the 3 Apsaras who was, kind of inert. And when she wakes up, we all slowly, one by one, wake up and, move around, and a beautiful swaram. And then we would lead Lakshmi, who would then take the garland and go and garland Vishnu, who was Krishnamurti sir. So, I mean, these are all fantastic memories. And, so for me, after I left Kalakshetra, I was invited to perform at Krishnagana Sabha, one of those January Pongal season, young dancer season. And I had left Kalakshetra and I'd come back and had choreographed Dikshitar's Hiranmayim Lakshmi. That was my first. I had choreographed it and presented it. And I remember many people coming back, including Yakiram and Mama, coming back and saying, this is so beautiful. You've done this so beautiful. Because this is lovely, where she walks in different ways, There's a line in which that goes like this, interpreted. And the same Hiranmayim Lakshmi figured again many decades later when I did Shri, the Goddess Within, a group choreography, where a young Lakshmi, of course, one of my students, who rose as Lakshmi with that song, Hiranmayim Lakshmi. So Lakshmi, as you rightly said, became part of our repertoire maybe a little later. And yours was probably Kshirapti Kanyakaku. Was that your first one?
Absolutely. It was my first one. But Annamaya's song, I grew up listening to them.
Right.
Listening to them, because Kshirapti is a kind of a benediction. And, the Brahma Okate, I remember going as a young girl to Navaratri Kolu functions, My mother would take my sister and me. And it would be very customary where we would sit there and they'll say, Patu Padu. And we would have to either sing a song or listen to other people sing songs.
Yes.
And that's when I heard, Kshirapti first. And of course, after that, I've seen many people conduct an arati, sing it for an arati, and even to welcome a new bride into the home.
But in Kalakshetra, if you remember Friday morning prayers, we used to say Namastestu Mahavaya Shri Pedya Surupujite Shankar Chakra Gada Hasti Mahalakshmi.
Mahalakshmi
Namostute. That was a Friday morning, if you remember.
Yes. It was a Friday. So I think that she's so present. And, my mother always had this image of the 8 Lakshmis, the Ashtalakshmi in our puja room.
Yes.
And she would...
with Kalasham.
Yes. And I said, who are these? Why 8 Lakshmis? And she would explain, Griha Lakshmi, Santana Lakshmi, Raja Lakshmi, So it was really interesting that for both motherhood, for affluence, for, even for power, Raja Lakshmi. So it was she was not just some decorative, beautiful person sitting at Vishnu's feet waiting to press his feet.
No, she was not that at all.
At all.
Yeah.
And Ananda, Sri Aurobindo has a very beautiful essay called The Mother, in which he lists the qualities of Mahalakshmi. And he said, just to be close to her was to experience a sense of well-being.
Yes.
Because she exuded that.
Yes.
Just to be close to her, to be within her aura.
I think I'm so happy you said that, because, invariably Lakshmi is connected to wealth, but wealth comes after well-being. And, and I think that is essentially who Lakshmi is. And this is what I try to portray in my production, Shri the Goddess Within, where Lakshmi is about well-being, about our own self being better than who we are. Saraswati being all about memory and perception and jnana and, the mind. And Durga being all about pure energy and power.
And swift action,
Action,
absolutely. So I think, and one of the things, that Lakshmi is a very important part even of the Kundalini energy.
Absolutely.
There is the Sushumna Nadi, and there's the Ida and the Pingala. Without Lakshmi, presence, even Durga, the Mahadurga, when Durga slays Mahishasura, she summons all the Shakti. She needs she needs the Tridevi, she needs the Trishakti.
Yes.
So it's not just one part. It's each of them, and Mahalakshmi has the beauty and the opulence and the affluence, but she also has the energy to act and the energy to create. And I think one very important aspect is what you said is right, Ananda. She's not just about wealth and jewelry and money and abundance. The abundance comes also, she's also very meticulous. Yes. She is chanchala, yes. When she feels somebody doesn't respect her, where she finds sloth and sluggishness or arrogance, she'll leave. Right. She'll just leave. And I think it's like to teach a lesson to the people, that
I think the whole quality of our culture is such that, the goddesses exist in our own spaces, in our personal spaces, in our intimate personal lives. You're talking about Tambulam, we all go. My mom used to do this beautiful rangoli for Varalakshmi Vradam. It was de rigueur for her to do that, and we would go out and call people and the shundal sharing and all. I think each of us have amazing stories which are essentially our roots, right? I mean, each one is a Lakshmi. Each one of us can grow to be that Lakshmi who can pass that well-being, to be that Saraswati, to grow into that knowledge, and to be that energy, to be that Shakti, to be that divine feminine. who is able to translate her own energy into others. Do you agree with me on that? Maybe.
Yeah, Ananda, when I was expecting my first child, there was all these traditional people say, "Nanna pilla pettukoma, may you have a son." I said, "No, may I have a daughter? I want a Lakshmi in my home," because I know I was first born. Right. And my father always said Mahalakshmi has come. In fact, I'm named Raja Lakshmi. That's my name.
And I'm Ananda Lakshmi. Anandavalli. I have a couple of other names too.
So my sister is called Padmasini, which is another word, name for Lakshmi. Yes. So I think the idea of having a daughter born is also like a lamp is lit and, Mahalakshmi enters the home.
Did your mom also want a daughter?
My mother wanted a son.
Oh, my mother wanted a daughter. She wanted a daughter because she couldn't dance. She wanted to dance when she was young. And she said, "I want a daughter and I'm going to teach her dance." So, where it all came from.
Yes, exactly. So I think, these wishes, I think, and the bond between a mother and daughter is extremely special.
Yes.
So I think coming back to, the way Annamaya is, he has just established this best friend concept, right?
Yes,
with Venkateshwara and with Alamelu Manda, right?
Absolutely. So he's a BFF completely.
He's a BFF, right? And he has like box office seats, right?
Yes, that's a nice way of looking at it.
View of their life.
Absolutely.
And it's like he has access. He's like the diarist, the chronicler. And I think that's what's so fascinating. He's given her the kind of dimensions that I don't think you and I could have thought about Mahalakshmi in that way.
And also, she's divine. The whole Shringara is divine. It's about two divine beings in love. It's the whole concept of Sattvika Shringara. And yet there's so many nuances which are physical and which are human. And I think that is the greatest quality of Annamacharya's music and compositions.
I think now let's invite our scholar.
Yes.
Let's invite Anupama Kylash,
yes,
because I have some questions for her and some comments. So let's now welcome this amazing fund of information, an encyclopedia on Annamaya herself, Dr. Anupama Kylash. Hello, Anupama.
Hello, Anita ji.
Hi, Anupama. Welcome to Tamrapatra Conversations 4.
Thank you, Akka.
So, Anupama, you just completed last month a fabulous session of yourself, and I was looking over the translation of this particular composition, which is just gives Shri Lakshmi Alamelu Manga the qualities of not just the heroine, but in a sense she's like almost like a geisha girl. She's got it all. She's got every weapon in her arsenal. Her glance. I love that accidentally deliberate pallu dropping and quickly gathering. I thought that was really beautiful. And, just the imagination of this one man who actually, I think, transports out of himself and becomes, sort of forgets himself and sort of imagines this world with the subtle nuances that I'm saying, how does a man do this? How does he imagine this? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I think it's very common in our bhakti literature for the man to take on the persona of the woman, because for them they are all women. Actually, they are all Prakriti, and there's only one Purusha for them, and that is Vishnu. Yes. So I think that is why so seamlessly they go in and out of the thing, because for them it's, at least it's my interpretation, I think for them it's not a gender thing. It is the energy aspect, the two, the polarities, the masculine and feminine as two different energy forms. And to find that perfect balance, I think one has to experience the feminine, the masculine, to be able to project the feminine and the masculine both. So I think that is what they do. That is what is their sadhana. That is what is their Vidya is all about. Just like we see even in Krishna Bhakti, in the entire Vraja says Radhe Radhe. They don't say Krishna.
Yes.
So I think it's because everyone, the whole energy manifestation in the human context is always looked at as the feminine. And that is why I think, that seamless transition between becoming the character, I will not even say character, becoming the divine feminine is so natural, because that is what is within him, basically. That is the true nature of Prakriti. I think that is the whole idea there.
Also, Anupama, when, the red line is called the Sri Churnam, no? The red line in the center. That is actually Sri, isn't it? Yes. She completes that. She completes the either the diagram or the structure or the edifice. The architecture needs her. It's almost like she's the spine. She's holding it all together. Yes. And I find that also very fascinating. Exactly. Also, Anupama, I know that in conversations you've mentioned that the Vaishnava Arvars had a huge effect on Annamaya's way of thought. Absolutely. And it was in the Arvars themselves, like Nammalvar and Tirumangai Arvar, imagined themselves to be women. So they already wrote in the Naika Bhava.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
yes.
Yeah, but Annamaya has taken it, I think, and further, because his attention to detail, I think that's really what is so beautiful. It's not just in a Naika Bhava, but it's an attention to detail. He's describing her. He's saying she has the glances, but he's also becoming her. I like this. I like this back and forth almost that he creates in this composition. Tell me, he's in from your point of view, Anupama. Manmada can play havoc, right, on everybody's senses, as most of our compositions describe. But here, she takes all of Manmada's power.
Yes. So, as you said, absolutely, the whole idea of Vishishtadvaita, the philosophy which Annamacharya follows, is Sri Vaishnavism. So, Sri is always before Vishnu. The whole concept is that Sri leads the whole thing. And always, even later, when this crystallized into the Krishna Bhakti schools also, the concept always was that she, the mother goddess or the feminine here, whether it is Shri, whether it's Lakshmi, whether it is the different manifestations of Lakshmi also, she is the one who works on the power of love. Hers is the supreme power of love. That is why she is the one who actually controls the Madana Tattva or anything to do with Manmadha, because she is his master. She is his master. And even in the Gita Govindam, there is an entire shlokam where he says he talks about every feature of a face and he compares it to the arrows of Madana. So he says, so the different flowers and all of that. So I think Madana, being the god of love, is like her attendant, because she is the controller of this entire Hladini idea, or the idea of the power of love. So I think because of that, he cannot do anything without her command, without her consent, without her, blessing. He cannot really do much. So I think that is the Vaishnava idea, and it's there in Nammalvar also. And since Annamacharya is almost, he's considered to be an incarnation of Nammalvar actually, as per the textual idea also. So I think that is what reflects very beautifully in his songs as well.
Yeah. Tell me about, what do you think is special about this particular composition, Anupama?
So this particular composition, he's literally doing what I think is like a tightrope walking, and I'm sure Ramaji also must be feeling that, tension of being on that tightrope, because on one side, she is epitome of love. And on one side, she is absolutely the persona of challenge. She's both. She's both in this song. And it is challenge not in a open declaration of war manner, even though she's fighting with him, not fighting, there is a love fight going on, but it is almost seamless on her part. It is almost like she's just conquering, it's taken for granted how easily she can conquer him, simply by how beautiful she is and how powerful she is, and how powerful her love is. So I think keeping that balance of her power and her compassion, her beauty and her dignity, all this is going to be a really big challenge. And it's a very lyrically very dense song, very dense song.
And there is no scope for Sanchari Bhavam. He's given every detail.
That is the trick. That is the problem with Annamacharya.
He's written the libretto, like every word, there is an action for it. He's also written the Thai Bhavam. Everything is done, Ananda. It's like you just do it.
No, but I don't know if you saw last session, Anupama gave so many Sancharis and so many layers. It opened everybody's mind. Not just young dancers, all of us also. I'm like, wow, this is possible. So I think, if you're able to go beyond the lyric and, do some cross-referencing from other scriptures, which Anupama did amazingly in the last session, I think then sky is not even the limit. I think,
because I think, we'll talk about it in our subsequent conversations. Yes. Because the time of Annamaya historically is also very, very important and very interesting. That 15th century is a very wonderful time, about just 200 years before Vaishnavism reaches its kind of crescendo with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bengal and, Northeast India. Yes. So you can look at the kind of influences that were already bristling in other parts of the soil, the kind of. So I think now, Anupama, we're going to invite the dancer choreographer.
I'll just ask one question before Rama comes into Anupama. Sorry. Anupama, is this female, this divine feminine equally, prevalent in the Shaivism thing? Because there is that concept, right? The Shakti concept also.
It is, in fact, it is even more strongly prevalent, because we know of the famous saying also, that Shiva without Shakti is actually Shava. So he's literally not even a breathing entity. And the whole Tandava Lasya concept itself reflects this idea, because it is about manifest and originating realities. It's about that concept. So if he is the host, she is the thing that powers it. So I think it's very interesting for us in our context that it is not the woman being empowered, but it's the woman empowering the man who's in a state of inertia to actually act. So that's been the concept. The Shakti is the one who empowers every action. So, and the same Shakta idea has percolated into Vaishnavism through Radha, through the Radha concept, which we will of course discuss, in the upcoming sessions, because we do have pieces on Radha which are coming up. But that is what I find very, very interesting, is that it is the Shakti empowering every form of activity, whether it's male or anything. That's the beauty. And of course, it comes from the Shakti concept.
Well, I think that you're right, Anupama, because if we look at Adi Shankaracharya's classic, his Saundarya Lahari and his descriptions of, Shakti, it's just so exquisite. Yes. And the Shakta movement itself has started a few centuries before Annamaya. So, so I think you're right when we look at the fact that the Shakti energy has come to its fruition in a sense of full maturity. Absolutely. And to so bring it into Vaishnavism it makes all sense. So Ananda, shall we invite Rama to our conversation? Let's now meet Rama Vaidyanathan, our featured performer and choreographer for this session of Tamrapatra.
Hello,
welcome, Rama. Welcome.
How are you? Thank you. Hi, Ananda.
Hi, Rama. Welcome to Tamrapatra Conversations 4.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining in.
My pleasure.
So, Rama, when you first got this piece and you were given all the meaning and the background and the transliteration, tell me what went through your mind when when you saw this piece?
Honestly, Akka, the first thing that really attracted me was the music, especially the tune of the first line, the Pallavi line, and what the fantastic music composer Venumadhav had put. So that just that tune had that potency of so much of love and romance and passion, that that's what attracted me to it. And we know that anything connected to Annamacharya is going to be Shringara laden. So that's what attracted me to the piece first. And then after I had a conversation with Anupama, and she kind of revealed layer by layer the meaning and the interpretation of every Telugu word. What I loved about it is that, we all know that Annamacharya gives a lot of power to the women, be it Alamelumanga, be it the Sakhi who's talking to Alamelumanga, or the Sakhi who's talking to Lord Venkateshwara. In this case, there is no Sakhi. It's literally Annamacharya speaking to Lord Venkateshwara. So in my case, I thought, okay, so it's going to be me. It's going to be me, the dancer, speaking to Lord Venkateshwara. So what I really liked was that in this case, Annamacharya has given himself also so much power. Because, you need courage to go to Lord Venkateshwara and say, look, boss, you lost. She won. You need the courage to say that to the Lord. So he's given himself that power. And that is because he's trying to tell us that there's an accessibility that he has towards the Lord. And the Lord is of an amenable personality, and the Lord doesn't have ego, because nobody likes to be told that you lost. But the fact that he went to the Lord and he's telling him that you lost in the game of love and she won it. So that is what I really liked. And the other point, which I thought was challenging also, and I thought that, I could bring it into the dance, is how to tell the Lord that you lost without sounding precocious and insolent. And also to tell him that she has won in the game of love and passion. It's actually a compliment to you. I'm actually really speaking highly of you. And just, even though you've lost, but you won in many ways. So these layers I thought were interesting, and which we could bring out in the choreography.
With Annamacharya, his Nayikas are Uttama Nayikas, right? He's talking it to Mahavishnu and to Mahalakshmi. So I was reading this particular transliteration, and I'm saying, you know what? Marriage counselors should take this example. How to keep your marriage fresh. Just read this and see. She is a Swadhina Patika. She is the wife. She's there right next to her beloved. And yet she keeps that whole, it's so charged. This piece is so charged, Rama. It's charged with that lovely, beautiful, tension of two people in love. You can sense that Venkateshwara is also there and completely, totally in love with his Sri. And
the beautiful Karnaranjani, the ragam is Karnaranjani. Beautiful ragam.
Oh my God. Ananda, just the way he says, Sati ninnu galichanu jauvana pugaridilo. So, it's got so much of drama and passion in it. So I loved the tune.
In fact, what you said, Rama, is very true, that, Annamacharya gives himself that power. Because even in the song that I did, if you remember, Anita was there, and I think you were also there.
Yes, I was also there, yes.
Yeah, he says, boss, whatever happens on her becomes the seasons for you. Hello.
Yeah.
So I think that's a lovely point you made. Wonderful.
Yeah.
But tell me, Rama, because you have so much in your repertoire. When you approach, if you perform this as part of an evening's program, this particular piece, tell me, would you do it as, I mean, after the Varnam, of course, but then what would you, how would you differentiate this particular Naika of Annamacharya's with maybe some other piece that you will do? From a programming point of view, I just wanted to find out from you, how this piece would be set apart by you, because after all, this is also a woman in love.
Yeah, this is a jewel by itself, I feel. And, quite frankly, I haven't come across a Naika who is speaking to Venkateshwara. Yes, there are other Annamacharya kritis where, where he says that, where the Sakhi say, like in Emako, oh my God, she herself is a love letter. That is how much she loves you. She just has to stand and we know that she's in love with you. So all the time eulogizing Alamelu Manga and, telling Venkateshwara how much he loves. But in this case, when the dancer is actually going to Lord Venkateshwara and, and has a close proximity with him, even the dancer has a close proximity with him, even though Alamelu Manga and he are supposed to be romantically together. So I think it's a jewel, and I really think it can come after any Varnam for that matter. Really, because the emotions and the Sahitya and everything that is being used is so unique to this piece that I would put it anywhere.
Can I suggest, Rama, that it should go after your Nammalvar piece?
Oh, wow, yes. Right.
Yeah, because
very good.
Yeah, because the Nammalvar piece is quiet and it's more gentle, and there is a link philosophically between Nammalvar and Annamaya. There is also one really influenced the other. So, I mean, this is just a practical point of view, because you're such a busy performer and you're performing all over the world. Even now, digitally, you're being seen all over the world. So the Tamrapatra project is just one more thing that you're doing. But I really think that this is a different kind of a Naika, isn't it? It gives Mahalakshmi.
Very much.
Isn't it?
Yes. Absolutely. And she's uninhibited in this piece. She's so demonstrative about her love. And I think there are a lot of little pictures in this piece that make one large picture for us at the end of the piece. And especially when he talks about her having that single-minded focus on him. She just looks at him directly and she doesn't get disturbed. She just turns her head towards him directly. She reaches her hand out. So there is this uninhibited, absolutely not feeling shy about it and wanting to demonstrate her love. And I think that's very nice to even life's lessons of having that single-minded focus on what you want and what you're yearning for, or what you're, reaching out towards. So I think these little pictures in the piece make a large picture at the end of the end of the day. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I can see that this is going to become quite a favorite piece of yours, as I think all the dancers.
Oh my God, it's already.
What I'm facing? What Anupama and I are facing? We sent two songs out of the 108 songs of Venu. We sent two songs to every artist, and almost everyone came back. So can we do both? I'm like, no, we can only one now. We'll do one more later. hang on. It's like that, and there's so many more beautiful pieces.
But I don't know about Rama, but I think that for many dancers, this would have been the first time that they actually go to encounter, look at, study, imbibe, and really think about how to both create the work, but also how to teach the work, teach and share the work. So Rama, you're so used to teaching. You've taught and taught so much, and I'm sure you continue to do it digitally. Is there anything different that you're going to do in the way you're going to share the process to your students when the time comes?
Yes, for this piece, right?
Yes, for this piece.
So that's why when Ananda got in touch with me and she kind of, made me understand what the whole project is all about. And so we all are on the same page that it's just not about a piece that you dole out. And, they just lap it up like that and put it into their basket. It's not going to be like that. So it's going to be giving them immense possibilities. And, just the way Ananda and Anupama carried their workshops through. So possibilities, where is this idea coming from? Why am I doing this idea? Yeah. For example, the fact that, she has won and you have lost. Okay. How many times can you just do a padartham? You have to get into metaphors to speak about who has won and who has lost. So how do you get into those metaphors? What metaphors can you use? I'm going to be using only 2 or 3. What more can you use? So I want them to think about what allegories can they use to show this, to reflect the Sahitya. So yes, so that is how I am planning to take this class forward.
Yeah. Well, I know that those who are listening to this conversation and those who have registered for your session are really going to be looking forward to this. Thank you, Rama. So in closing, Ananda and Anupama, any more thoughts?
Anupama?
And I can only say that I am really looking forward to Rama Akka's interpretation of this particular song, because at every point of time, whenever I went through the lyrics of this particular song, something new kept occurring to me, and I kept messaging her and saying, Akka, do you have a minute? Because there is some other interpretation which I've just discovered somewhere else about it, and probably it could also be interpreted this way. So this was actually the most difficult song for me to even create, because there are some words, some phrases which are very typical to us particular language, and it's very difficult to. So when you say suti, for example, suti, the word suti is direct. That's for lack of a better word, we can say direct. But the connotation of the word suti is very different from just being direct. So it was very, very difficult. In fact, amongst all the songs, I found this most difficult to even transcreate. So I'm absolutely looking forward to how, Rama Akka would interpret this piece. So yes, looking forward to session 3.
I think I'll echo Anupama and say we're all looking forward to Tamrapatra session 3, which is happening on the September 11th and 12th. But before that, thank you, Dr. Anita Ratnam, Dr. Anupama Kylash, and Rama Vaidyanathan for being part of Tamrapatra Conversations 4, where we discuss the divine feminine. I hope you all have registered. Register is almost full, just a few left. So just go out there. Tamrapatra registrations are still on. You've just got a week to go, so please go and register. And all of you who have been part of session 1 and session 2, some of you have been sharing your performances and your practice. We are loving it. Please go ahead and share some more. What better way to share what you know and what you've learned? Do that and we'll be happy to repost it. Thank you for sharing, and wish you all a great Ganesh Chaturthi, which is coming up on the 10th. All of you have great festival ahead, and see you on the 11th and 12th of September. So I will request Anita to close it. Thank you, Anita, for being such a dear friend, supporter of the arts, supporter of Natyarambha, supporter of Tamrapatra. And I think you'll all agree with me, Anupama, Rama, and every one of you that, Anita is almost like our spine. She supports us. She's such an enveloping dear friend of the arts. Thank you for being who you are, Anita.
Thank you, Ananda. Thank you for being the Shri for the Tamrapatra Conversation. You've really been the catalyst, okay? You've been the creator of it and given it that spine. And Anupama, the two of you make a great team. I want to close by saying, of course, it's an honor and a delight to anchor these monthly conversations, but I want to wish Rama all the best, because she is going to be stepping into a whole new role in the coming days with her daughter, her Lakshmi, going to birth a beautiful new creation into the world. So you have our best wishes, Rama. You are yet another avatar. And let's hope that this new creation, this new energy has all the abundance, all the luck, all the auspiciousness of Shri. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Same wishes from all of us to the youngest grandmother I think I know.
Yes.
Okay. I love you for saying that, Ananda.
So all of you, thank you very much from Natyarambha's Tamrapatra Conversations 4. See you soon at Tamrapatra Session 3, September 11th and 12th with Dr. Anupama, Kylash and the beautiful Rama Vaidyanathan. Thank you very much.
Annamacharya Padamudu